Ever felt like you're spending hours on tasks in Excel that should take minutes? You're not alone. In this video, we're diving into top Excel productivity tips for work and study. For each tip, I'll present a problem and solution and a quick demonstration to show you exactly how it's done. But before we jump into our first productivity tip, I'm curious, what's one Excel task that always seems to take longer than it should? Let me know in the comments. Whether it's creating invoices, project plans, or regular reports, the monotony of performing these repetitive tasks each time from scratch can be mind-numbing and time-consuming. For example, let's say each time you have a new project, your job is to create a file to track progress. You can either create a report from scratch or simply use a built-in Excel template. To do this, go to the File tab, New, and here you can choose from a ton of built-in templates that can save you time creating your spreadsheets. I'm going to search for Gantt template, and let's go with the simple Gantt chart. Just double click to open it. All you need to do now is edit the placeholder text for the project phases and tasks. And if you have the same phases and tasks for each project, once you've made the modifications, save the file as a template file, which is a .xltx, and then it will be available via the File tab, under New, and then under your personal templates. Navigating through Excel can feel like torture, especially with large databases. Slow navigation in Excel can significantly hamper your productivity, turning quick tasks into lengthy processes. That's why Excel has hundreds of keyboard shortcuts to make you feel like an Excel wizard. Some of the best being Control plus any of the arrow keys. They whisk you to the edge of your data range without needing to scroll. You can easily select a range of cells with the Control-Shift arrow key shortcut, and then quickly format the cells by pressing Control-1 to open the Format dialog box. You can navigate through the menu tabs using Control Page up or down, and then Tab to jump through the options. Arrow to move through lists, Alt-Tab to set this to 0 decimal places, then Tab to the comma separator option, and Space to select the checkbox. And then Enter to apply the format and close the dialog box. Now, if your data is in an Excel table, you can select a column in the table with Control and Space, and a row with Shift and Space. And of course, don't forget your everyday essentials like Control-Z to undo, Control-C for copy, and Control-V for paste. And for Microsoft 365 users, the new Control-Shift-V to paste values is amazing. For more shortcuts, get our 239 Excel shortcuts PDF and periodic table of shortcuts from the link in the video description. When working with multiple Excel files, finding and opening the right one can be a problem and hurt your productivity, especially if they're not well organized. But what if you don't need to repeatedly go back and forth into different folders within your computer to look for them? You can simply create a file directory in your Excel sheet from the Insert tab and then Link, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Control-K. In the Insert Hyperlink dialog box, you can browse to the file, and the file path will be inserted in the address field for you. The anchor text will be picked up from the cell, or you can type it in the text to display field. Now, with this technique, you can add links to files on your local machine or shared drives such as OneDrive or SharePoint, and of course your most frequently referenced web pages. I've also created a hyperlink map in this file with links to all my courses, so you can easily find the course you want to take next. Sometimes you might need to split data in one cell into two or combine two cells into one, and doing it by hand is slow and boring. Thankfully, Excel can recognize patterns and do the work for you. For example, here I need to extract the city and zip codes from the addresses. I'll add a column for the city and I'll start to populate it. You can see Excel detects what I want and ghosts in the solution. All I need to do is press Enter and it completes the work for me. Let's add a column for zip code. I'll enter the first couple of zip codes so Excel can detect the pattern. By the way, if Flash Fill's ghost values don't show up, you can either use the keyboard shortcut Control-E or go to the Data tab and then Flash Fill. Now, Flash Fill can do a whole load more data cleaning tasks, so check out the detailed video here for more. Sometimes Excel formulas are hard to understand, especially if they're long and complicated. For example, here I have a formula that references this table to summarize the sales by manager, but it's a bit difficult to follow. If I convert the data into an Excel table with the keyboard shortcut Control-T, my table has headers, so I'll leave that checked. Then I can rewrite the formula equals SUMIFs, reference the sales column, Notice it now uses the table structured reference consisting of the table name and column name, which is much easier to read. Now my first criteria range is the manager column, and the criteria is the manager name in the table. I'll F4 3 times to absolute reference the column, so that when I copy the formula to the rest of the table, it's going to correctly stay fixed on column G. My next criteria column is the month, and the criteria is the month name in row 5. Again, F4 twice, this time to fix the row, so when I copy the formula down, it stays fixed on row 5. Now, if we read the formula, you can see it's much quicker and easier to follow. And if you're working with multiple tables, you should consider renaming them to something more useful. For example, on the Table Design tab, I can rename this one Sales Data. Now when you look at the formula, it's even clearer. Let's copy the formula to the remaining cells. And now, if I add data to the next row, you can see the table expands automatically and the formulas include that new data. I haven't had to edit them at all. Getting a quick look at important numbers in your Excel sheet can be tricky, especially when there's a lot to keep track of. I'll select a range of cells, and instantly you can see the sum, max, count, and other quick calculations in the status bar. Now you can customize the status bar to show different values by right-clicking on it and selecting them from the list. And a single left click on any of the values in the status bar copies it to the clipboard, and then you can paste it into your worksheet or other apps. Ever feel like you're lost in a sea of numbers when trying to make sense of big data in Excel? It's like every cell is a puzzle piece and you're not sure how they all fit together. Let's take this extensive sales data as an example. We need to analyze it by region, category, and product, so I'm going to insert a pivot table. It's detected that my data is in a table called Global Sales, and I'll put it on a new sheet. I'll left click and drag the field closer to the pivot table. Here I want the region in the rows, category in the columns, and the sales in the values area. And just like that, we have a clear, concise summary of our sales data. Now you can easily rearrange fields. I'll switch region to the columns and category to the rows. You can also filter. For example, let's filter to only show accessories. And now, with a double click, I can drill down to see the underlying details. Identifying patterns and trends in data can be like finding a needle in a haystack, especially in large data sets. And it's important that you don't overlook crucial insights. That's where Excel's Analyze Data feature comes in very handy. All you have to do is select a cell in your data, and then on the Home tab, select Analyze Data. It will identify patterns, trends, outliers, correlations, and more. You can add any of the insights it returns to your report with a click of a button. You can even ask Excel to calculate important decision-making metrics, for example, percentage of sales by product. And then click on the button to insert it. It doesn't get much easier than that. When it comes to complex data analysis, especially when dealing with multiple criteria and calculations, Excel can quickly become a labyrinth of formulas and functions, and keeping track of and maintaining sum ifs, count ifs, and other intricate calculations can lead to errors. Instead, we can use pivot tables to rapidly create them. For example, I can quickly generate summary statistics from my dataset by dragging the sales field into the values area multiple times. And then click on the drop-down, select Value Field Settings, calculate Count of Sales. And then I'll repeat the same for average and max. Now I have all 4 calculations in a single pivot table without even writing a formula. I can also add the category and product to the rows, and now I have the equivalent of sum ifs, count ifs, average ifs, and max ifs. Let's add the region to the filters, and I'll choose a country to see the statistics by. Alternatively, you can easily insert a slicer from the Insert tab, select the field you want the slices for, and now I have an easy-to-use interactive report. If you work with pivot tables, chances are you're never happy with the default layout and you spend valuable time changing it to get it just how you want. Thankfully, in Excel 2019 and later, you can create a default pivot table layout. Do that via the File tab, Options, Data, and then Edit Default Layout. And here you can import the layout from an existing pivot table or modify the settings via this dialog box. And then click OK to save it as the default layout. So next time you insert a pivot table, the hard work is done for you. Remember, these tips are your secret weapons to conquer Excel challenges and boost your efficiency. Try them out and you'll be amazed at the difference they make in your work. One of the easiest ways to boost productivity is to automate the gathering and cleaning of data. Up to 80% of our time can be spent on these laborious tasks. So check out this video next and take your productivity to the next level.